friends. First, let me make sure that you guys can hear me. I think I'm using the right microphone. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everybody. Let me see. Hey, okay, we got Gail and Donnie. Hi, guys. And Ween Baby. Hey, actually saw a notification this time. Yeah, yay. Hey, Margaret. Margaret's awake now. Hey, Sherry Jones. Hi, friends. Let me see. Hey, Brenda. Donnie. Hi, everybody. Y'all can hear me, right? I'm not paying attention to Margaret because Margaret's going to be like, what? Hi, guys. Has everybody had a good week? I named this latest case update, So Much Crime, So Little Time, because that's the truth of the matter, right? Have you guys been keeping up with that Emmanuel Haro, that little 7-month-old baby out in California? I have been watching that situation. Hey, Miss King, good morning. I have been watching that little baby situation, and I have lots of things I feel about that. First of all, you have been watching it, Gail? Or you can hear me? Which one? Yeah. Oh, every day, Miss King, you guys have been watching. Can you believe that? You all know, right? Oh, I can get so upset about this particular situation. But y'all know that daddy has been charged or was found guilty of abuse of another child of his. And I don't know how many kids he has or how many children he has abused. But the one daughter of his, he abused her so much so that she is like in a wheelchair on a trach, like not very much brain function. And she was a perfectly healthy baby until he did what he did. And that man only served like 100 and some days or something for that. Got out on a work release or something. I don't even know. But yeah. And now his 7-month-old son is missing. And the mama, who says that the kid was kidnapped from the Big Five. I don't even know what the Big Five store is. Apparently it's like a sporting goods store or something. But yeah, she says that she got out of her car to go change his diaper before they went into the store, and somebody came up behind her and said hola, and that's all she remembers until she wakes up, and she's got a big black eye, and she's got the baby's gone. And she runs into the store and is like, "Has anybody seen my baby?" And they're like, "No." So, but the spoiler alert. Oh, wait. I'm watching Adelson on my phone. Waiting for the jury selection is started or finished. I think they're going to be starting opening statements momentarily. Audio's cutting in and out. Hold on just a second, folks. The audio is cutting in and out on this Adelson thing. But yeah, I had that on my phone. I was waiting for the. They better fix the audio. Law and crime, fix your audio, yo. But anyway, what I was gonna say is that mama's black eye that we seen in her like interviews with the police, with the whatever, when the supposed kidnapping happened, was not a fresh black eye. I think anybody with two brain cells could figure that part out. Um, both families are trash. Her whole story is a lie. And she changed her story. Jeff gets golf stuff there sometimes. Oh, okay. Her brother killed his girlfriend and tried to make it look like she did it herself. Oof. I hadn't heard that part yet, Miss King. The mama's brother. Mm-mm-mm. So that part, Miss King, is that like confirmed or is that like just rumor mill? Either way, I'm blown away by the whole situation. That man should not have, even if he is innocent, let me just say this, even if he has had nothing to do with the disappearance of his son, this little Emmanuel, an angel baby, even if he didn't have anything to do with that or the mama, let's just say he was abducted, which I don't believe for a split second that he was. Let's just say he was. Even at that, that daddy shouldn't have be nowhere near that baby. If considering what he's was found guilty of with other children in the past. No. No. And he shouldn't even be out on the streets, in my opinion. He should, for what he did to that little girl, and that was years ago. Look how old that little girl is now. She's what? How old is the little girl now that's in a wheelchair? Does anybody know? She's older now. Like, okay, confirmed. He got 50 years. Wow. The mom's brother. Gee, oh. Mm-mm. That blows my mind. Blows my mind. I just don't see how in the world he can be out free and anyway. Anyway. Oh, thank you, Gail. I've had that for a long time. That's Pioneer Woman. Pioneer Woman. I hope you guys have had a good week though. I've been, like I said, just listening and watching the Emmanuel Haro story, and apparently the neighbor's house was set on fire, but apparently had nothing to do with the situation. And then now there is allegedly baby's clothing or something that was found in a dumpster, and they're waiting on DNA to come back for that. And there have been some video surveillance from, oh wait, Kathy Russin. Sorry, I'm like 15 things at once. Kathy Russin just said they have 110 jurors today. They are questioning 21 at a time. The first group of 21 is being asked questions now. So they're not ready? Well, what is the judge saying then? He's breaking in and out so bad I can't understand what he's saying. Okay. Yeah, he has, Miss King. Strategic eyes, and so has Justin. Um, I've been watching a lot from Justin. And from what I can tell, Justin from Clutch Them Pearls has been like barely even sleeping. Um, he's been following a lot on this one, and then there's two or three others that are really like hot and heavy going on right now. Um, I know, not even sure when the last time the baby was seen. 'Cause I saw the video. There was video of the mom at a funeral that was apparently held on the 5th of August. And there was somebody had like cell phone video of her, and the baby wasn't with them then. Um, so I don't know. OnlyFans, Donna Clooney set for her name isn't Donna, is it? What is that girl's name? It's not Donna, is it? Set for December 1st. I have it marked on my calendar for December 1st. Okay. Um, what is her name? Somebody help me out. What is that woman's name? Courtney. Is it Courtney Clenny? Okay, Courtney, yeah. Okay. Um, you got her and Donna Adelson. You got Donna on the brain this morning, huh? Are they let me go to Court TV on my okay. Maybe it's fixed now. Hold on, I'm listening to this. Hold on. So are they doing are they doing the voir dire jury selection stuff like live streamed? Okay. Did they ever find those kids in Canada? Not to my knowledge, Ween Baby. No, not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge. They're doing final picks live. Okay. Thank you, Gail. Miss King says the grandma said she did not take the baby out at the baseball field because he was not vaccinated. Another lie. Um, I'm wondering, so is the lie the part about the baby, was the baby even at the baseball field? You know? Mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. I'm not buying any of it. I'm not buying any of it. Mm-mm. And there's been a lot of people coming forward too that have been, people that know them saying things. I guess there's a couple of Facebook groups or people over on TikTok. I don't know. But crazy. Do we think she's involved or covering for him? I don't know, Gail. I'm kind of wondering that myself. I'm wondering if I don't want to speculate too much, but like my brain kind of goes a couple different ways. Is it a situation where she like they got into an altercation, a physical altercation, that's why she has a black eye? Maybe that happened over him being mean to the baby and she flipped out on him and he flipped back out on her, and in the midst of that something happened to the baby and now they're covering it up. People are saying they didn't see him at the field where she had to leave and get the mouth guard. When she had to leave and get the mouth guard. Okay. Yeah, because that's supposedly why she went to Big Five was to get a mouth guard because they were at the ball field with the dad's oldest son that he had with a different woman. And that different woman, the was at the ball field too. Very confusing, I know, but it's a really big case right now. People are. See, Miss King, I think that's what it is too. Yeah, I think so too. And I think she's covering up for him. Oh my gosh, I've missed this so much. Oh, over here, you mean, Gail? Mm-mm-mm. I have too. I missed it. And I haven't done much of anything this I am still in a daggone foot brace. Okay? I can walk and I'm using my little ankle brace that I bought at the Walmart, okay? It's been good too. I like it. It's made by Ace Bandage, but it's not like your typical brown Ace Bandage. But anyway, I got it the other day and I can walk with it on and put weight on it. But when I take it off, I feel it hurt. So I probably should have went to the emergency room. I probably should have. No, I haven't been, Margaret. No. Mm-mm. And when I say it hurts when I take the brace off, it just twinges. You know what I'm saying? So it's much better, but yeah. No, no. It's possible, Gail. I don't know. She's grown daughters. This was her first son. Oh, yeah. And you know what, Miss King? People have been wondering when that little baby, when Emmanuel was born, did he have the lazy eye then? Because I've heard people speculating that maybe his, and I'm not saying anything please don't take anything that I say negative about his little lazy eye. My oldest has that, okay? My oldest has a very lazy eye. And he was born that way. And we even whenever he saw the doctor when he was young, they had talked about doing the corrective like surgery. There's some sort of a band that your eye has and they can shorten that band to make it, but he said we don't like to do it if we don't have to because sometimes you can overcorrect it and as you get older, So anyway, we just never did do anything with it. Um and sometimes most of the time it's okay. It's not noticeable, but other times it's noticeable, especially when he's really tired. But we have an aunt, well, a cousin. I always say aunt because she was like older. Like her and my mom were like, they were cousins, but they were like BFFs for a long time too, whenever I was little. And so I always call her my aunt. Anyway, she has a very big lazy eye. And my other sister, not Mickey, but my other sister has a pretty strong lazy eye too. So I just figure it's hereditary. So, but hi, Gina. Good to see you. You just looked up the case, Donnie, the little Harrow boy, Emmanuel. It's very sad. But if you really want to get caught up on the situation, there are a couple of channels that I could suggest. Um, what is his name again? Strategic. I get it mixed up. Something about Strategic Eye. True Crime with Strategic Eyes or something like that. And then the other one is Clutch Them Pearls. For Justin. True Crime. Miss King, let me know if I'm messing that Strategic Eyes name up. I think he did have the lazy eye, but there was life in that face. The older picture, it looks like there is emptiness in the face. I'm sure he was being abused by the dad. Well, I mean, what is it that Dr. Phil always says? Past actions predict the future or whatever. I mean, True Crime with Strategic Eyes. That is something like that. Yeah. He's really good. And then I think he's also like a detective or an investigator or something. But also Justin at Clutch Them Pearls have both. There's other channels too, but those are the two that I've really watched the most. But I'm not sure I can take it if that dad had a history. What is he doing with another baby? I know, Donnie. I know. And that little girl of his, he got charged with several charges. Like, whenever she was seen at the hospital, I guess they said that she had like previous healing fractures on top of new fractures. So whenever you have like healing fractures in a baby, that means that baby has been, you know, bones have been broken before. So, and he'd said something about his excuse. I think I heard someone say one time was that he had dropped the baby while he was giving the baby a bath and its chest fell against the divider between the sinks. Like, you have the right side and the left side of your kitchen sink. And then that divide, the little bar in the center, that he dropped the baby on that. But to be honest, you really think about it, babies are very flexible and bendy. They're made that God makes them that way for a reason, right? You're not going to break a baby's bones by picking it up and accidentally it slipping out of your hands onto that between the sinks. Yeah, it might bruise or it might get hurt or whatever, but it's not going to get a broken bone from that. It would get a broken bone from that if you like dropped it from the ceiling maybe and threw it onto that divider from like a few feet up. But no. No. I ain't buying that story. Donnie, I'm not saying anything, but I wonder about that even with Emmanuel. I wonder. I want to know what he was like at birth, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, and now it's 7 months old. Maybe nothing. Maybe there has been no abuse of that little baby. God, I pray that there hasn't been, but I wouldn't be shocked if there were with his past. So, anyway, it's all allegedly, in my opinion, speculation, right? Anyway, there's that story that I've been keeping up on. What other story have I been? I've been trying to stay up on the, what is that trial I've been watching? But I'm so behind. Not the Casotis one, but the other one, the Wolfenbarger. That one is like, that Wolfenbarger case. The victim, what was her name? Melissa? Melissa, is that her name? The victim? Her father was a serial killer. The victim's father was a serial killer. And her mother took part in the cover-ups of some of these murders that her husband committed. And she took the stand the other day, and the only reason she's not in jail is because she got a deal, immunity, for testifying against him. Margaret, right? Oh my God. And then the sister, I watched the sister on the stand. And you could tell she's one that you wouldn't want to mess with. You know what I'm saying? Mm-mm. She's got attitude, and I don't blame her. I don't blame her. Haven't seen anything on that one except teasers. Gail, it's been really good, but I keep getting interrupted with because I've been watching these updates on this little baby, and I keep getting, interrupted, and kiddo has homework now, so we have to do homework when she gets home, and trying to get her to bed early and everything else. I'm just like, wah! That's why I titled it So Much Crime, So Little Time. I don't have enough time for all of it. My jaw was on the floor. I know, Margaret. No, it was crazy. Crazy. Law and Crime is trying to troubleshoot the feed for the audio over here on Adelson. So, but what else? What else? I watched. Do you guys remember? Do you guys remember? There was a few videos I showed a few weeks ago of that young girl, young blonde-headed girl, who was accused and charged with shooting her mom and dad. And she was apparently on TikTok, like trying to get people on TikTok to cover the case and crying about how, and the little sister, her little sister was allegedly the one that found the mom and the dad in the bed. Do you guys remember that? When we watched that a while back? Let me know if you remember that. You remember it, Sherry? Yeah. Okay. So, if you've not been keeping up with true crime lately, she's been jailed, and she had a bond hearing yesterday or the day before. Yesterday or the day before, they had a bond hearing, and I really like that judge. I really like that judge that is over her case right now. So the bond hearing, they had people that came in and spoke on her behalf, and then people that spoke on not her behalf about why they think that, the people on her behalf were talking about why they thought that she should receive a bond, and then another one, the other people, on the victim side were saying why they didn't think she should be allowed bond. And it was really good. It was really good. If you guys didn't watch that, we can watch part of that bond hearing so you can hear their statements. And also, whenever you look at the thumbnails of her images, she looks so different in, like, when she comes out for that hearing, and what she looks like on, like, the thumbnails of some of these other videos where she's like all grown up looking. Makeup and filters, I guess, is the only thing I can figure. Makeup and filters. I don't know what else, because she looks like a grown 20-some-year-old woman, and when she comes out into the courthouse without any makeup on, obviously, she looks like a 13-year-old girl. It's crazy. Very creepy. Crazy what makeup can do, right, Brenda? I know it. I know. Hold on. In case you all missed it, we'll look at some of that. Oh, and also, the um mm, the sheriff who shot the judge in Kentucky, there's been a lot of movements going on in that case as well. Um, there are more and more and more people coming out of the woodwork talking about the sex ring that's been going on in that crazy. Brian Enton has done some interviews, and then Gavin has still been posting a lot about that too. Let me go see what I'm looking for. I did watch the interviews, Brenda. They were crazy. Yeah. There was a couple of interviews. There was one with one of the girls who was involved in the ring, so to speak, and then another one who was a jailer who was like invited to parties and was like, no thank you. Like after hours courthouse parties. Yeah, Brenda, Tia, is that her name? Tia, something like that. Okay, where was I gonna go? Here we go. This is it. Let me share this one. Hold on, you guys. I'm trying to do 15 things at once. I only knew about how the sheriff was bribing convicted women. No, Donnie, it wasn't the sheriff. It was the probation officer. Clear to the governor. Oh, God, Brenda. Scary, right? Okay, let me share this screen real quick. Share screen. Not that one. This one, maybe. Share. Okay. Oh, no, I didn't mean to do that. I did the wrong thing. Hold on. This is the right one. Okay. This is the hearing. I watched this when it was on the other day. So this judge, I really like him. He looks familiar. I feel like I've seen him somewhere before, but I don't know where. I get all the judges confused. Hey, Patricia. Hi, girl. How are you? We have been talking about Emmanuel Haro. We have been talking about, I'm currently watching Adelson on my phone, waiting for opening statements to start. Hey, Mary Lou. Hey, Mary Lou. Baby, how are you? Mary Lou. But right now I want to watch this, not all of it, but part of it. This TikTok teen double murder trial, Georgia versus Sarah Grace Patrick. So she had a bond hearing a day or two ago, and it was really good. It was really good. Let me see.
Session with the Honorable Judge Dustin Hightower presiding. Good morning. I'm ready to see you.
appreciate the attorneys working with me. The request for bond, I believe, was done on July 11th, and I was in compliance with getting that scheduled in the time frame that was necessary. But because of some surrounding factors, I believe both the state and defense agreed to put that out to this day and was allowed me to specially set it so that we could accommodate a little more of the public and actually have an open courtroom that could account for everyone. So I appreciate both sides, state and defense, working with me with rescheduling that, placing it on for today. I do want to start. I know that this is a case of great interest to a lot of people, and I do know that we have media in the courtroom. But I want to remind everyone in the gallery that
Oh, I love you too, Mary Lou. Have a good day at work, honey. Don't work too hard, okay? This is the gallery. The side that we're looking at is the side that are there to support the girl, Sarah Grace, and then the ones on the other side are the ones who are not there in support of her. So the guy in the green shirt, the mint green shirt right here, if you guys can see my mouse hovering over it, he is Sarah Grace's grandfather. If I'm not mistaken, this is her mother's dad. The only reason I know that is because I've been seeing interviews with him. Hey, Shellbell. Hi, girl. All right, here we go.
this is not daytime court TV and this is not for entertainment. We're here to simply apply the law to this motion for bond, and that's my job, to simply listen to both sides and apply the law fairly and justly, and I'm going to do that to the best of my ability. If anyone chooses to act out, this is your only warning. I will hold you in contempt because we will keep an orderly courtroom. So as long as everybody follows those rules, we'll be perfectly fine, and we'll get through this easily and safely, and we'll get it done. With that, defense, you have made a motion for bond. It's your motion. Are y'all ready to proceed?
We already are.
All right, State, are y'all ready as well? All right, Vince? I'm motioning for them. They're gonna grab it. Yep. Did y'all
So when
need to
she
approach
comes
about
out-
anything before we get started?
No,
Okay.
Hold on a minute. When she comes out, just take a look at her. But before you do, hold on. I want to get a screenshot of something else. Hold on. Where did I see it? I think it was on that daggone video, and I shouldn't have opened that up. Hold on. Let me. Hold on a minute. Hold on just a second. I'm going to try to find a... Hold on just a minute, folks.
Bond for Sarah Grace Patrick. State witnesses cited concerns about her potentially fleeing if she were to be let free on bond.
Okay, there we go. Let me take a screenshot real quick. I don't think it, nope, it won't let me do that. Hold on a minute. Save. Now let me see if I can put it up here. Why is everybody sitting there then if they didn't want bond for her? No, some people did, Margaret. Her family did not want bond for her, Margaret. Some of them did, some of them did not. I mean, the grandfather they even said that she could go live with them. There was church family there that was like, oh, she can come stay with us if she needs to. I mean, there was a lot of people there that were in support of her getting bond, and then a lot of people were not. So, hold on. Let me try to... add. Here we go. Open. What is my husband texting me? Hold on, folks. Yes. For her multivitamin. Brand. Okay, sorry. I had bought something online and Dale sent me a message. He's like, "Was this you? Did you place this order?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's for her multivitamin." Anyway. Okay, so let me go back here. And now, look. You see that? This is the girl, okay? This is the girl that is on trial for, or will be on trial for shooting and killing her mama and daddy, or stepdaddy, her mama and her stepdad, okay? Now this is her. Okay? Keep that in mind. Here, let me make this the logo so you can remember what she looks like there. Okay, and then I'll take the overlay off. Okay? Just keep that in mind. Now look whenever she comes in this room, in this courtroom.
Media, what I did is I just followed my rule. The first to send in a Rule 22 is the media that got to place their camera in the courtroom. That was Court TV, I believe. They know how to pull. The order's been out there. They should have everything and accommodate everyone with getting you all that you need, because that's the rules. And I've
Look at
been
this baby.
assured they know
She's
how
an
to do that,
infant.
and will accommodate all
Look at the face on her.
other media outlets for what you need.
I mean, look at that. What? I'm so confused. Filters, right, Margaret? And I think that makeup will take you a long way, but it's the filters that does all the extra. I mean, that just blows my mind. Anyway.
All right. All right. Dustin, you ready? All right, this is State of Georgia versus Sarah Grace Patrick. Again, defense, this is your motion. On your motion for bond, are you ready to proceed?
I am, Your Honor.
And State, you ready as well? All right, defense, this is your motion, so whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Judge. I'd like to call Ben Bonner as my first witness.
All right, have Mr. Bonner, please.
I believe he
Is he-
stepped out in the hallway. There was no room for him.
That's fine. If we can announce for Mr. Bonner.
Just a baby. Me too, Miss King.
Yes, sir. If you'll come around and come up here, if you'll remain standing and just raise your right hand when you get up here, okay? You remain standing, raise your right hand. You swear affirm the statements given before the court today, the truth, the whole truth.
She's
nothing
under
but the truth, so help
18.
you
I
God.
think she's
You may be
17.
seated. If you would, just slide that mic closer to you when you sit down and just speak loudly and clearly into the microphone. Yes. All right, thank you.
Don't quote me on that, but I think she's
Good morning, Mr.
17.
Bonner.
Good morning.
Or should I say pastor?
Just Ben.
Just Ben. All
Not that
right.
I know of, Gail.
You are you the, where do you work?
I'm lead pastor at Catalyst Church.
So, I have not heard of any reason why she did it. I don't know. Yeah, this is for a bond hearing. Donnie, this is her bond hearing. She does look 12, I know. She is 17, okay. I knew she was, I thought she was older than 16, but I knew she was younger than 18 because of what he said, something about her being underage or whatever. So, yeah. I wish we knew what the motive was, but
Carrollton, Georgia.
That's here in Carrollton, Georgia?
Yes, sir.
About how far is it from this location?
113, couple miles. I'm geographically challenged, not my gift, but 2 to 4 miles.
Okay.
and again, this is their pastor. He's the pastor at the church they attend. Speaking on her behalf.
Yes.
About how many minutes would you think?
From here, it depends on the time of day. 5 to 10.
All right, 5 to 10 minutes, so not very far.
No, ma'am.
How long have you been the pastor at Catalyst Church in Carrollton?
We started Catalyst in 2017, so since the beginning, I was one of the founding pastors
And do you have services every week?
every week. Yes, sir.
What days are those services on?
We have 2 services on Sunday, 9 and 10:30.
Now, in relation to this case, were you asked to write a letter about Sarah's character?
Yes, I was asked to write a letter. Well, I honestly offered anything I could do to help any of the family. We want to best support.
May I approach them?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm showing you what's been marked as defense bond exhibit 2. Do you recognize it?
Yes, I actually brought a copy, so in case I need to read it.
Is that your letter?
Yes, ma'am.
Has anything been altered or deleted from it?
No.
Okay. Defense seeks contender defense bond exhibit 2 in the committee.
Any objection from the state? No. All right, it'll be admitted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, Pastor, would you read that letter that you prepared?
Yes. To Honorable Judge, my name is Ben Bonner, and I serve as lead pastor at Catalyst Church in Carrollton, Georgia. I'm writing on behalf of Sarah Grace Patrick, a young woman who's been a part of our church family for about a year now. Sarah Grace first came to Catalyst around a year ago. From the beginning, she was eager to grow in her faith and get involved. She made a personal decision to be baptized not long after attending, and has stayed consistently connected to the church ever since. She didn't just show up on Sundays, she came during the week as well, asked questions, served, invited others, including her boyfriend at the time, and clearly found a place where she felt at home. Throughout the past year, and even through the challenges of this year, she has continued to attend services regularly. She and her family often travel over an hour just to be with us. I've spoken and prayed with Sarah Grace many times throughout this season. Her commitment to staying grounded in her faith and connected to a healthy community has remained steady. She's even called from jail multiple times so I could pray with her. Her father has also become an active part of the church. He was baptized recently, and he still comes to services faithfully. It's a privilege to walk with their family during such a difficult time, and we love and care for them deeply. If it's possible, and the court sees fit to grant Sarah Grace bond, we would gladly continue to walk alongside her as a church. We believe having her with her family and church community is an important part of her support system. We're committed to loving her well, encouraging her, and helping her continue on a positive path. Thank you for your time considering this. Sincerely, Ben Bonner.
Thank you. Pastor, are there other members of your church or congregation here in the courtroom with us, or are you in the hallway?
They're in the hallway. I brought a few staff, and then there's some other church families spread out that were connected to Kristen James, Sarah Grace, all the family, which they brought to the church.
Okay. Now, you said that Sarah and her family came back in August of last year, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
When they came, were they just attending, or were they further engaged in activities at the church?
No, the entire family, James, Kristen, Sarah Grace, they jumped right in. That's why it's hard. They became very, very beloved between August and February. I mean, our church family adores all of them, everybody, and we're for the entire family. So.
Okay. And
Can you imagine? I just can't imagine. Hey, Poppy decided to grace me with her presence. Can you imagine? Like, I can't understand. That's one thing I will say. Devil's advocate here. Devil's clavicle. I don't see how someone could be that that in depth, that in whatever with the church. Devil's clavicle, right? I don't see how somebody could be that into the things, the happenings of the church and do something like that. I mean, I know that it happens. I know that it happens, right? But I just don't see how. Like, what are the workings in someone's brain that's like, okay, I'm going to go to church and, yuck it up at church and then go over here and shoot my mom and dad while they're sleeping. Very scary, Donnie. That's scary.
Sarah, specifically as it relates to Sarah Grace, was she involved or engaged in other programs throughout the church other than
Listen.
attending Sunday services?
Yes, the entire family in multiple teams. The entire family, multiple teams from cleaning to kids, kids ministry. I have a staff now, so and a lot of team leaders. The church looks a lot different the last several years with growth, but they were engaged in multiple teams. And if you ever need me to give a list, because I don't want to misspeak, I could get an actual list of all the things the family and Sarah Grace were engaged in.
But just safe to say they were involved in more than just Sunday service.
Yes, they were there in the week. They were there.
Yeah, he says it wasn't just Sunday services that they were there. They were there through the week too. At whatever extra things they had going on through the week. And here's another thing. I don't know about you guys, but when I was 17, if my mom and dad, now when I was little, we went to church, right? But when I was older, even 16, 17 years old, if my mom and dad went to church, I didn't necessarily go. They didn't like force me to. You know what I'm saying? They wanted me to, but it wasn't like yanking me out of the bed and making me get dressed when I'm like 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. You know what I mean? Not wanting to get up on a Sunday morning. But when I was older, no, they didn't. So if I went to church, especially if I went to church through the week for other things like youth night or whatever, then that was on my own. Like, my mom and dad didn't make me go to that either. You know what I'm saying? Right. Maybe she had to, Miss King. Maybe she did. But I'm just looking at it from my own perspective. If she wasn't made to go, then she was there because she wanted to be. I just don't, I don't, unless something real bad was happening and she was trying to accept and forgive through service in the church. That's possible, Brenda. She's young but old enough to be responsible for what she did. Yeah. Look up a case in Madbury, New Hampshire. Unalived and self-unalived. Normal family near my... Ooh, wow. Gail said, I was very involved with my youth group all through high school, every one Sunday morning, night, and Wednesday. Well, I mean, a lot of us were too. But, like, I don't think that... I don't know. I just feel like at her age, if she's there, it's because she wants to be. Otherwise, I feel like the pastor wouldn't be so, like, if she was there because she didn't want to be, she'd probably be acting out about it. Like, you know, Mickey. Hey, Mickey. Jenny was sneaking. Jenny was sneaking out the Sunday school window playing in the cemetery while the preacher was Yeah, that's true. I was when I was little. Yeah, me and my little cousin. Mickey just told on you. Well, I mean, hey, I was at church. Yeah, me and my cousin would either sneak out the Sunday school window and go play out in the yard, or we would sneak out the Sunday school classroom and go down into the because it was a little bitty old Baptist church, okay? But sidestep here. So little bitty old Baptist church, all right? But the after Sunday school was over, you know, a lot of the times us kids would still stay in the classroom during the morning service. Cause, you know, out of sight, out of mind, you know, the parents are like, just go play in the Sunday school room. Let us listen to the word, you know? So anyway, we did that all the time. But we would sneak out. And if they were having like a dinner after church, you know, like a pitch in, and everybody would bring something, me and my cousins would always sneak down into the basement where they would have the dinners after church and get into the food before everybody else. We were little hellions is what we were. I don't know Gail. I have no idea what her stuff on TikTok was like. I have no clue. No idea at all whatsoever.
During the week, not just on Sundays, helping.
All right. Now, you said in your letter that family still comes over an hour to come to your church on Sunday.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you referencing DJ?
DJ, yes, DJ, and then DJ Junior, little DJ, and everybody still comes except, of course, Jaylee, because she lives away. It's away with her grandmother. That's a long drive, but they all actively come and consistently. Even now that Sarah Grace hasn't been able to come, they continue to come consistently.
And just for clarity, who is DJ?
Sarah Grace's father. Thank you. I want to make sure I'm clear.
No problem. Now, you indicated that you would do whatever in your letter to help in this regard with Sarah. Have you facilitated people at the court's instruction before?
Over the years, multiple times I have come to this room a couple of times and offered to facilitate any way that would, if there's any way to make the court and you feel comfortable, we'll do anything we can to facilitate. We just want to help. Y'all have a great calling. Ours is to support and love. Y'all are the jury and the judges, and so anything we can do, we're willing to help, you know, to make that happen.
And coming to a close here, you indicated that Sarah still calls you while she's been incarcerated. Is that correct?
Yes.
And when you have conversations with Sarah, are the substance of those conversations about do you believe me or anything like that?
Two things she calls. It's been two things every time. One is to thank me. Thank me for everything, and it's particularly for her dad. He's just engaged. He's growing. He's really growing his relationship with God. I can never make sense of tragedies like this. It's terrible what everybody's been through, but watching Beauty for Ashes and seeing DJ love the Lord and engage in his faith is beautiful. So she'll call me first. He came to the altar a couple times. We've been able to pray with him recently. So there's victories that she'll call and thank me and then ask me to pray for her. And she's actually reading some books that were recommended to her that changed my mother's life. My mother was a pretty rough addict, and those books vicariously through her changed mine. And so she's reading them, and so she'll talk to me about that. So it's three things: prayer, thankfulness, and what she's reading.
All right, that's all I have for you, Ben. The state may have some questions for you.
Okay.
Thanks. State?
I don't have any questions for you, Pastor. Thank you.
Okay. Thank y'all.
Pastor Bonner, you've testified, so you're welcome to stay in the courtroom unless y'all think he might, there's any other reason for him to stay.
You can excuse as far as the state's concerned.
All right, then you can remain in the courtroom if there's room.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good
Appreciate
day.
y'all.
Thank you.
Defense now calls Katie O'Keefe.
Katie O'Keefe.
Katie O'Keefe. I think this is someone else that was there with the church.
Ma'am, if you'll come up, just remain standing, raise your right hand once you're here. All right, you'll raise your right hand. You swear affirm the statements you give before the court today the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Maybe see if you would, just speak loudly and clearly into the microphone.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Thank you.
Is it okay if I call you Katie?
Yeah, I prefer it.
Okay. All right, Katie. How do you know Sarah Grace?
Can we, you need that spelling? Okay.
My name's actually Caitlin.
Could you state your name?
My name's
Spell it,
Caitlin
please.
O'Keefe, Kaitlin, O''Keefe.
All right. How do you know Sarah Grace?
I met Sarah about 3 days after all this happened with her mom and dad.
And how did you come to meet her?
I was friends with her dad. We used to play cell phone games. He told me what happened. Told me that the kids didn't have any clothes. Like since the house was closed off, they didn't have anything. So I've taken in a child or two in my.
So, Margaret, the first half of the people that are coming in are speaking on her behalf to get bond, for her to get bond. The last half of the people that are going to be speaking are saying why they think she should not get bond. There are a handful of each. Yeah, they're not all yeah. These first few, the first one was her pastor. This is someone else from the church who thinks that she should get bond. And then a few others are going to speak on her behalf. And then there's some that don't want her to get bond. Margaret says, I guess without any motive or idea of one out there, it's hard to process. Yeah.
In my time, so my heart broke for it, and I was like, please let me take her shopping. So I came and picked Sarah up and took her to get clothes, underwear, deodorant, your basics.
And since that time, so that would that have been in February?
It was February 23rd or 4th, I believe, yeah.
Since that time, did you continue a relationship with Sarah?
Yeah, Sarah actually ended up moving in with me. It was a better situation for her. I had an extra bedroom. She came to stay with me after everything happened with her mom. I used to lay in the bed. She would cry and sob, and I'd watch her grieve.
Did you have any disciplinary problems or any type of issues with Sarah while she was at your house?
Not even one, honestly. Like, I've had some teenagers and one that gave me a hard time, and Sarah was a pleasure. She was easy.
Do you still have a friendship or any type of relationship with other members of Sarah's family?
Yes, I talked to her grandma, grandpa, her dad, and little brother live with me. I talk to Sarah every day.
So since she's been incarcerated, you've spoken to her?
Every day.
Every day. And do you all pray together as Pastor Ben indicated or anything like that?
Every day. You can't stop her from praying.
Now, are you aware if at any time during her stay with you, did she have a driver's license?
No, she had her permit, and we would go practice driving. She wasn't ready to get the license yet. She was not ready.
Safer for all of us.
Yeah.
Okay. And does she have access to her own personal vehicle that you know of?
No.
During the time that she was with you, was she attending school?
She actually worked really hard and graduated a year early.
Where was she attending?
She was going to Central here in Carrollton.
And you said she graduated early. What do you mean by that?
And she worked hard. She was on track to graduate early before all this happened. But I mean, even after this happened, like there were some rough times. But when we found like a peaceful moment, I'd be like, let's get your schoolwork done. Let's make your mom proud by showing her you finished this. You know, and that was a big goal for Sarah.
And do you know how old Sarah is?
She's 17.
Did you know, or during the time that she was with you, did she have a job?
She did. She worked down the street at a local restaurant.
And do you know if there were any problems that you are aware of at the restaurant?
No, they loved her. They still love her. They ask about her all the time when I go up there.
I just don't get it. I want to know what the mountain of evidence that they have is. You know what I mean? I want to know what their mountain of evidence is.
I believe that's all I have for you. I don't know, the state may have some questions.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. State, any questions?
I think I have just one for clarification. You did not know the defendant prior to the shooting, is that right?
No.
It's after, is that what you?
After.
That's fine.
Yep.
All right, thank you. Can you follow up?
No.
All right. Can this witness be excused?
Yes.
All right, maybe excused, please, you can remain in the court, okay? Neither of you asked for sequestration, it's not really necessary here,
Yeah.
but y'all are good?
I'm good, Your Honor.
Okay, all right.
We call Carrie Jensen.
Carrie Jensen?
I don't know that I
All right,
watched
it's
this
the same
one.
as the others, if you'll raise your right hand. You swear affirming statements made before the court today, the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. All right, if you'll be
I don't
seated.
think I watched this
Speak
one.
loudly and clearly, and let's just start off by stating your name and spelling it for us in the court before we can get that down.
Carrie Jensen, Carriejensen.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Jensen. How do you know Sarah?
I met Sarah when she was in 7th grade. Her and my daughter became fast best friends, and I became really good friends with her father and stepmother at the time.
Okay. And so you've known her since 7th grade. How old is that?
13, 12.
Okay. And during that time, have you known Sarah Grace to cause you any problems or get into any mischief with your daughter or anything like that?
Not at all. I mean, they'd fight over boys. But no, she's been an angel.
Just typical teenager stuff.
Typical teenager stuff.
Now, during the course of this case, were you asked to, or did you offer to write a letter in support of Sarah?
I sure did.
May I approach her?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm showing you, Carrie, what's been marked as defensive bond exhibit 7. Do you recognize it?
I do.
Okay. And what is it?
It's my letter to Judge Hightower.
And has it been changed or altered or any deletions or additions in any way?
No.
See to admit defense bond exhibit 7.
Any objection from the state?
Okay.
All right, it's admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm sorry for the numbers being a little off. I didn't know who would be here and who would be here.
It's all right.
All right. Would you read your letter for the court?
Sure. Dear Judge Hightower, my name is Carrie Jensen, and I'm writing this letter on behalf of Sarah Grace. I first met Sarah when she was in 7th grade. She and my daughter attended the same middle school, and her stepsister played softball with my daughter. Our families quickly grew close. Sarah would spend weekends at our house, and my daughter Caitlin would do the same at theirs. We've shared camping trips together and weekends at West Point, creating strong bonds between our families. They have been best friends since. At the time, Donna and Kristen were in the middle of a custody battle. When I first met Sarah, she was a little shy, very sweet, kind, and humble. She was cautious around new people, but soon she warmed up to me and once told me I had a motherly presence that made her feel safe. As our relationship grew, she began to open up to me about her past and experiences with Kristen and James. One thing she said that has always stayed with me was, no matter what they've done, I will always forgive them and love them, because deep down, I know that's not who they truly are. This statement showed the depth of Sarah's heart. She truly believes in forgiveness and has always extended the same grace to others. She once told me that holding grudges isn't what God wants for us, and I've carried that wisdom with me ever since. While staying at our house, Sarah was full of life, happy, upbeat, and in many ways a typical teenager. But there were also signs of trauma she endured. She would often apologize for things she never had to. Like she would asking for food, taking a shower, or using the bathroom. It was heartbreaking. Despite that, she remained incredibly kind, respectful, and especially patient with my son, who is on the autism spectrum and is the same age as Sarah. She was fiercely protective of him and everyone she cared about. Sarah has a huge heart. She is loving, protective, and deeply rooted in her faith. She has always expressed a strong, She has always expressed a strong desire to work in radiology field and has never been afraid of hard work. Hurting someone simply isn't in her nature or character. Over the years, I have held her through moments of deep pain and tears, and through it all, her love to her family, especially her siblings, Jaylee and Donnie, has remained unwavering. She would never do anything to harm them. She wants only to protect them. I respectfully ask that you consider granting Sarah grace bond. She is not a threat to anyone. She is deeply loved and supported by my family, by me, and her own family. I truly believe she deserves a chance to be home, surrounded by those who care about her. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Now, you indicated that she deserves to be home, in your opinion. Is
Yes,
that right?
ma'am.
And would you agree, or you can disagree with me, that you would be a part of her village if she were home?
Absolutely.
And what would that entail?
Whatever she needed. If she needed a place to stay, she can stay at our house. She needed rides. Me, my daughter, or my husband would be more than glad to take her anywhere she needed. Whatever she needed is at her disposal with us.
Thank you, Ms. Jensen. That's all I have, and if you'll hand that letter up to the judge.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
the state may have some questions.
Yes, ma'am.
State, any questions?
A handful, Joe.
Okay.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
My name is Michael Parrish. I'm representing the state in this case. You said that your daughter and the defendant went to school together, is that right?
Yes, they did.
What school was that?
They went to East Coweta Middle.
Now, were you aware that at some point the defendant attended an alternative school?
Yes.
And what's that alternative school? How does that function?
I'm really not familiar with that. I'm so sorry.
Is that related to disciplinary issues as far as you understand?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
You said you would be part of her village and that she could actually stay with you.
If need be.
Do you live here in Carrollton?
No, I live in Wadowee, Alabama.
Wadowee, Alabama?
Yeah.
So obviously- I don't think I have any other questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir.
Nothing further.
Any reason to hold this witness?
No, you're right.
None of the
All right, you may be released, and you can stay in the courtroom.
Call Caitlin Jensen.
All right, come on. Come on. There you go. Raise your right hand for me. You swear affirm the statements made before the court that the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. All right. Now, you might speak up just a little bit. I know you're nervous. That's a big crowd. It's intimidating, okay? But we gotta be able to hear you. So when you sit down, speak clearly in that microphone. And look, you're here as a witness, so there's nothing to be afraid of. All right? So take your time, take a deep breath. I'm not gonna let anybody get too bad on you, all right? Okay. So grab a seat right there, and let's try it out with your name. All right, you'll say your name loudly and clearly, and then spell it for my court reporter.
My name is Caitlin Jensen, Caitlynjensen.
All right, if you stay right there, we're gonna be okay. If you go
Okay.
any lower, I'm gonna have to tell you to pick it up a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Sound good?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Hey, Caitlin. How old are you?
I'm 16 years old.
And are you and Sarah friends?
Yes, ma'am.
And is Carrie your mom?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I heard your mom say that you guys went to school together, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
At East Coweta?
Yes, ma'am.
And have you gone to school together since then, or that was the last time you went to school together?
I'm gonna say ninth grade. She started at East Coweta High School, and then she moved.
Is that when, do you know if that's when she moved with your mom?
I'm gonna say yes.
Now, so that was ninth grade, but have you guys continued to be friends since then?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you say friends, talk to me about what that looks like. Are you guys talking on the phone? On,
Via Snapchat sometimes. We would call, I'd check in on her. I was never allowed over at her house.
but she was allowed at your house?
Yes, ma'am, I'd go and get her.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
I would go and get her.
Okay, you would go and get it. So you have a car,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, and you have a driver's license,
Yes, ma'am.
and we shouldn't be scared.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm a great driver.
Now, so you guys have kept in touch over the years, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and when you guys keep in touch, what sort of things do you do?
Well, usually I'd go and get her, and then we'd go to the gas station and get something to eat. It's an hour 30 drive back home, so we'd blast music like teenagers would do, going home. And we'd go home, and I have a 2-year-old son, and we would play with him for hours until he fell asleep. And then we'd watch movies.
Okay.
That's what we do.
Now, at any time have you, well, let me ask this. Have you talked to Sarah since she's been incarcerated?
I have.
And what have those conversations been like?
Telling me she loves me. She's so thankful for me. She's excited to get to go on the jet skis again one day, have fun, be a teenager, and then we pray.
Okay. Now, are you attending church too?
I used to.
But you're not at Cavendish Church?
No, ma'am.
Because that's
That's
too
far.
far away.
That is far.
No problem. Now, were you in contact with Sarah after the incident happened?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you have any concerns about Sarah leaving or running or trying to get away in any way?
No.
Did she ask you to come pick her up and take her back to Alabama and hide her or anything like that?
No.
Okay. I think that's all I have.
Thank you.
State any questions?
I think I may just have one, George. When was the last time that the defendant was in Alabama at your house?
I really don't remember the date. It was the day I took her. She said she may get her phone back, and I took her that day. And then I took her to Wedowee. We were gonna have a sleepover, and then we got the phone call that she needed to come back home.
Okay, so if I were to tell you that she was arrested July 9th, you'd say it's sometime in the days just before that.
July 8th.
July 8th.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. No other
You're
questions?
welcome.
No further questions, right?
All right, any reason to hold this witness?
No, you're right.
Not in this one.
All right, you may step down.
Thank you.
Thank you.
She's a pretty girl, right? Sorry, while this is playing, I'm over here looking up all kinds of stuff, trying to find information on this stuff. Jeez. I'm looking to see. I couldn't find a probable cause affidavit, but the only thing I could find was her the warrant for her arrest, but says there's still, I remember whenever I first saw this, they said that there may be more arrests. So I'm like, whenever I heard that, I remember thinking, oh, okay, so she did this with, and then my first thought was a boyfriend, you know. And then I just read too that some believe, now this isn't confirmed, but I had read somewhere Was that on this over here? Let me look. I'd read somewhere that some believe that the motive may have been because of her parents' divorce. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. Um, Here it says law enforcement describes the probe as active, emphasizing large volumes of evidence and the possibility of further apprehensions. So that was part of what made me think that there may be more than just her. So, I don't know, you guys. I don't know. Lots and lots of stuff.
Tasha Meza?
M-E-Z-A. She's outside, I believe.
Ms. Williams, how many more Williams do you have?
This is one?
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, one more.
Okay. You're gonna come up here and you'll walk around that area here and come up and I'll give you some direction once you're up there. All right, you'll come on and remain standing and raise your right hand. You swear or affirm the statements you give before the court today, be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so be God. All right, you may be seated. If you would, speak loudly and fully to that microphone, and let's start off by just stating your name and spelling it from a court reporter.
Tasha Meza, Tasha. That's a Meza.
Thank you.
Ms. Meza, how do you know Sarah Grace?
I met Sarah after me and Kristen became friends. I was at the doctor's office and just invited her to church. And then we became really good friends.
And when you say church, are you talking about the Catalyst Church?
Yep.
Where Pastor Ben is the pastor?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you invited them to church, did they ever come?
Yeah. 2 weeks later, they come
And did they continue to come after that?
every Sunday.
To your knowledge, were they involved in activities throughout the week or just Sunday service?
At first, it just started as Sunday service, and then as they grew in the church, they became more involved.
Now, were you able to observe and spend time with and have a relationship with Sarah Grace personally?
Yes. Her and my daughter were friends, so I've seen them quite often.
And so, since you go to the Catalyst Church, I'm assuming you stay local, somewhere close by?
Yeah, I only stay about 2 minutes from the church.
2 minutes from the church. So, 7 minutes from here, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. And at any point, okay, so let me ask you this. When did you meet Kristen?
It was back in August.
Okay. Of last year?
Yes.
And when you met her, during that time, how often would you say that you had occasion to spend with her and Sarah?
For the beginning of the part, we just stayed on the phone mainly, and then as we grew closer, we went to birthday parties and cookouts and that sort of thing. So, I mean, it was a few times.
But would you agree that most of the time you spent with that church?
Yes.
Now, did you hear Pastor Ben testify?
A little bit.
Okay, a little bit. He indicated that he and the church would be willing to facilitate Sarah in any way if Judge Hightower were to give her a bond. Are you do you share that sentiment?
I agree.
And would you be willing to be a part of Sarah's village to help facilitate her here in Carrollton in some way?
I've already been a part of it, so I'm not gonna stop now.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
State any questions?
Nothing to the
All right, you're good. Any reason to hold the witness?
No, you're not.
Nothing to
All
say?
right, you can be excused.
My last witness is Ms. Shavina Rogers.
Last witness.
Attorneys, can y'all approach just a minute?
So she's getting ready to speak to the woman that's taking the stand as her assistant. But anyway. Judge is like, can I speak to you guys for a second? I don't know if it had something to do with something completely different or if he's like, wait a minute, what's going on here?
You're good, come on up. Just had to ask a question. If you would raise your right hand for me. You swear to affirm the statements given before the court today, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. You may be seated. And if you would, same as the others, once you're seated, just state your name and spell it from.
I think that's exactly what he was like, wait a minute, what's going on? Because did you see his face whenever she was called up there? Watch, hold on. This is funny.
Part of it, so I'm not gonna stop now.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Basically, the woman that's been sitting beside of her, on the far side of her, that's been loving on her and passing her tissues and stuff, is the one that's getting ready to take the stand. And I don't think the judge was aware of that.
State any questions?
Nothing to the
All right, you're good. Any reason to hold the witness?
No, you're not.
Nothing to
All
say?
right, you can be excused.
Watch, watch.
My last witness is Ms. Shavina Rogers.
Attorneys, can y'all approach just a minute?
Oh. He asks, are you okay with coming up or something? You hear him here in a second.
You're good, come on up.
You're
Just had
good,
to ask
come
a
on up.
question. If you would
Okay.
raise your right hand for me. You swear to affirm the statements given before the court today, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. You may be seated. And if you would, same as the others, once you're seated, just state your name and spell it from a court, please.
My name is Shavina Rogers, spelled Shaveena. Last name Rogers, Rogers.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Rogers, how are you employed?
I'm employed by the state of Georgia at the Georgia Public Defender Council.
And what's your job title?
I'm a criminal defense investigator.
And are you a criminal defense investigator for a media mob?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And have you been working on this case in my direction?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, do you recall me asking you to run a GCIC on Sarah Grace Patrick?
Yes.
And would you briefly explain what a GCIC is?
GCIC is a Georgia Criminal Investigation Center, and is ran by the GBI, the Georgia Bureau Crime System. And what I do is for each client, I run their CCH, client or witnesses of each case, I run their CCH, and that's their computerized criminal history.
Okay. And did you do that for this case?
I did.
Yes, ma'am.
I am showing you what's been marked as defensive bond exhibit 1. Do you recognize it?
I do.
Okay, what is it?
It's Sarah Grace Patrick's criminal history record.
Okay, and is that the criminal history record that you ran through it?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that the report that you received once you put it into the computer?
Yes.
Has it been changed or altered in any way?
No, ma'am.
Seek to admit defense bond exhibit 1.
Any objection from the state?
No objection.
All right, it'll be admitted.
Now, when you ran that GCIC or criminal history on Sarah Grace Patrick, was there any return?
Just one.
Okay, and what was that return?
what we are here for today, the same case number.
Okay. And would that indicate to you that she had not been arrested in the state of Georgia for anything else?
No prior criminal history.
Now, in the course of also investigating this case, have you talked to witnesses? I'm sorry, not witnesses. People who wanted to stand in support of Sarah.
I have.
And were you sent emails of letters about their support?
Several of them, yes, ma'am.
Ms. Williams, while he looks at that, on the GCIC, since it's been admitted, have you redacted any personal information that's on there? Because what we may need to do, I haven't seen it yet, but sometimes there's personal identifying information that needs to be redacted.
I have not. I can provide the court with a redacted copy.
Okay, either that or we can get my clerk to black it out.
That would be fine.
Okay, all right. State, I'm assuming no objection to making those redactions. I think those would be appropriate.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
No objection.
May I approach?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Rogers, I'm showing you what's been marked, and sorry again for the jump around on numbers. As defense bond exhibits 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9. Do you recognize those?
Give me a second. I do.
And what are they?
These are character witnesses letters that were sent for Sarah Patrick.
And did you receive those in your email?
I did.
Your state issued email address?
Yes, ma'am.
And have they been changed and altered in any way since you received them in that form?
No, ma'am.
As a matter of fact, did you run those copies for me,
I did.
for today?
Yes.
Okay. Seek to admit defense bond exhibits 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9.
Any objection?
Oh, also, something else I forgot to mention. Sorry, you guys. I just came in hot on this one. This was something else that I wanted to mention and forgot. I knew I should have wrote it down, but I was scrolling to look for updates on something else and popped up with this. You guys did hear that, or if you did not hear, you're getting ready to hear. Brian Koberger is asking to be moved. He's asking to be moved from where he's currently being held. And he is alleging that he has received, that he is being sexually assaulted. Claims. Anyway. And apparently some of his neighbors in the jail are saying some crude things to him, and he doesn't appreciate it. My thoughts personally, don't do things to cause yourself to go to jail. That's all I got for you, dude. That's all I got. But yeah. Also, something else about the little boy, the Emmanuel Haro, whose, parents are doing whatever they're doing. The mom, when they were at the ball field, the baseball field, for the little boy's practice or game or whatever it was, Jake, I think is the dad's name, Jake's other bio child, the oldest one that was there for the ball practice or ball game, his mother was also there. Not the little Emmanuel's mother, but Jake's other son's bio mom was there. And she, I think, was the one that took him to wherever the other, is her name Rebecca, where she was at, or to the police station or somewhere, wherever. But anyway, now she has filed a restraining order or protective order against him. So, wonder why. I just heard about that today too. Anyway, lots of stuff, all kinds of things going on. Okay, we'll get back to this.
Mistake. All right, there be admitted.
Now, with those letters, I don't know if the court prefers if Ms. Roberts were to read them or if the court could read them at your meeting.
I'll read them.
Okay. All right, you'll hand those to.
In the GCIC. Thank you.
Now, during the course of me asking you to do some investigation on this case, were you able to determine if Sarah Grace was working before she was arrested?
She was working at Subway.
Okay. Was that Subway in Carrollton, Georgia?
Yes.
And were you able to speak to her supervisor?
I was put on hold. They seemed very busy. I had to call multiple times for someone to even answer the phone.
At any point, did you get a letter from her supervisor?
Yes.
And was that letter one of those letters that we just entered into evidence?
Yes, ma'am.
And was that letter in support of Sarah Grace?
Yes.
Now, the GCIC that you ran, and I'm double back into that, did it indicate that Sarah Grace had a driver's license?
No.
Right, I believe it's all I have. Thank you.
No, he's
So any
claiming
questions?
the other ones. He is in solitary, but they can still like get to him, not physically, but through verbal. I mean, like they can talk to each other through the vents, or when they're passing each other, or when they're passing his door, when they're going out to the yard for the 1 hour a day or whatever, you know. So he's not saying that he's being physically, he's saying that he's being, that people are saying they're going to do things to him. So anyway, and also apparently he's mad because he's not getting his lunch or all of his lunch or something. I don't know. I saw Anjanette Levy had posted yesterday a video that said he had filed a report saying that he wanted the amount of lunch that he is due. So, anyway. He's just being hard to get along with.
Just a couple, Doug. As part of your investigation, did you look into any other areas where the defendant lived over the past 5 years?
I didn't. I spoke with family members, but that's about it.
You don't know what other areas she was living in over the past 5 years?
I believe she was living in Fairburn at one point, Sonoya, Georgia at one point.
Exactly, Miss King.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Was it the only two other than Carrollton that you're aware of?
Yes.
Did you look into the alternative school that she attended?
I did not.
Can you pull up that GCIC one more time for me?
Sure.
Yes, ma'am.
And can you just tell me what the charges she currently has in this case are?
2 counts of murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault.
I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
No problem.
Can you follow up?
Well, all I know is if he don't want to hear them screaming at him, then he's going to have to take some of his little commissary money and buy himself a set of noise canceling headphones or something. I don't know what to tell him. Maybe you can buy those in commissary. Can somebody Google that? Can you buy noise canceling headphones through commissary? Probably cost a pretty penny, but I mean, you know. He may not be allowed, they may not be allowed that kind of thing, but I don't know.
Nothing further.
All right, looks like they're getting ready to switch over to the defense. The prosecution is going to have their own witnesses come on the stand that are like the son of the stepdad that was murdered. One or two of his children come up, siblings of the parent, like the parents, Kristen, and I forget the dad's name. I forget what the dad's name is, stepdad's name is. But different people like that come up and say why they think that she should not be given a bond. So, and some of these are really hard to hear. Oof. I think his name is James or Jim or something. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But one of his sisters comes up and speaks, and oh my goodness, I feel so bad for her.
Fence.
That's all for witnesses, John. Those are for argument.
Okay. State, you're going to be up next, but if you're going to give me just a few minutes, let me read through these letters. Okay.
He could wad up his socks and stuff them in his ears, right? I'm anxious to hear what all this evidence that they have against her is. I need to do some digging and see if I can find what evidence they say they've got, if they've let any of it be made, that information be made public. I don't know. Let me fast forward it. I didn't realize it was that long.
The victim's bill of rights. The first is going to be Kim Cole. And Judge, all three are going to come up and read prepared statements that they want to talk about.
All right.
You will not have those statements.
Okay. You raise your right hand for me. You swear affirm the statements given before the court today, the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. Proceed.
Okay, this is the sister. She's the first one. Oh, this is so sad to listen. Get your tissues out if you're a crier. But anyway, Miss King says, I looked it up. They may be able to get earplugs, not top of the line, through Canteen. So, well, I guess that's better than nothing. BK.
Speak clearly.
You can't have it your way. Sorry. The BK, have it your way. You don't get to have it your way, BK.
Loudly in that microphone. You'll start off by just stating your name and spelling it for my court.
Okay. Hi, my name is Kim Bowling, Kim.
This woman breaks my heart.
No. Let me tell you. It's the same as that young girl that just up. You take your time. Right? You're not in a rush this morning. So take a deep breath and take your time.
Oh, something else I was going to say. When you're not looking at this man's face, this was something else I was going to say. You guys tell me, okay, I'm going to rewind this and let you hear this again. Okay? Hold on a second. Let me rewind this. Let you hear this judge speak to her again. The way he speaks to her is very sweet. But listen to his voice without looking at his face, and you all tell me in the chat who his voice sounds like to you. And I'm wondering if it's going to be the same person I'm thinking of. Sorry, Margaret. I'm so sorry.
Proceed to
Just
speak
listen.
clearly and loudly in that microphone. You'll start off by just stating your name and spelling it for my court.
Okay. Hi, my name is Kim Bowling, Kim.
No. Let me tell you. The same as that young girl that just up. You take your time. All right? We're not in a rush this morning. So take a deep breath and take your time.
Bowling.
Ms. Bowling,
Yes.
can you go ahead and tell us how you related to this case?
Jamie is my brother, my only brother I have left, my only sibling I have had.
And like the judge said, you take your time.
Hey,
What do you
Cherie.
think the judge needs to know about what's going on?
Okay, so I'm going to spill it to y'all. This judge sounds like Joel Osteen. Y'all know who Joel Osteen is, right? This is my Bible. What is it he always says every time? I forget how he says that. Somebody have to remind me. But he always says the same thing every time he does one of his little, sermons or whatever. He'll say, "This is my Bible. I believe what it says. I do what it's something, blah, 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 blah." But anyway, that's who he sounds like to me, is Joel Osteen. Right, Gail? Hey, Mary. Yes, he does sound like him. Mary's lurking. Lurky Lou. He sounds just like Joel Osteen. It blows my mind. And I forgot about that until I heard him just talking to her just now and not seeing his face. But yeah, crazy. You were in the shower. And now I need to go see what it is Joel Osteen always says. Hold on. What does Joel Osteen always say before sermon? Something about shoot. Let me see if this is it. Oh, come on. Where is it? Well, if y'all can find it, you can put it in the chat. I'll have to keep looking for it because that's going to drive me crazy. Dang it. Dang, dang, dang. I always turn something on while I'm in the show. I do the same thing, Mary. I do the same thing. All right, here we go. This poor
I
woman.
have something to read. Your Honor, my name is Kim Bowling, and I'm Jamie's sister. I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. Since this tragic day, my brother Jamie and his wife Kristen were taken from us, I have become their voice as they no longer have one. I would like to share how this brutal tragedy has affected me. I not only lost my brother, but also my sister-in-law.
I found it. Here it is. He always says, This is my Bible. I am what it says I am. I have what it says I have. I can do what it says I can do. Today I will be taught the Word of God. I boldly confess my mind is alert, my heart is receptive. I will never be the same. But yeah, this is my Bible. I am what it says I am. I have what it says I have. I can do what it says I can do. He always says that. And I just think that's super cool. I know a lot of people are kind of like meh about Joel Osteen, but he's one of those, I don't know, not really meat and potato kind of preachers. I don't mean to get off subject here, but he's more one of those like feel good preachers. You know what I mean? Like a pep talky kind of preachers. Anyway, all right. Sorry about that. Here we go.
In the most horrific way imaginable. Every night I lie awake, unable to sleep, haunted by the thought of what my brother Jamie and Kristen might have experienced in those final moments. With the possibility that they were awake when the defendant entered their room with a gun. And I imagine their terror in their final breaths. The defendant is charged with the brutal murders of my brother, Jamie, and my sister-in-law while they were lying in their bed. Shot multiple times, including both shot in the head. Excuse me one second.
Mr. Parrish, can you talk that? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Parrish.
Poor woman.
My 5-year-old niece was then woke up to find their parents lifeless. The trauma this innocent child will carry for the rest of her life is unfathomable. And what makes this even more heartbreaking is that her sister loved the defendant. She looked up to her, and for reasons I will never understand, the defendant caused such imaginable pain. And I'm so thankful that Jaylee's life was spared. With all of this in mind, I am deeply concerned about Jaylee's safety should the defendant be released on bond. Jamie and Kristen had turned their lives around. They were actively involved in church, had found happiness, and were living a great life. They did not deserve what happened to them. I ask you, please consider the following factors when deciding whether to grant a bond. My first concern is flight risk. The defendant has financial resources provided by the immediate family, which would enable her to flee. Her family maintains that she is innocent, and given her manipulative behavior, I believe she may attempt to flee. Second concern is witness intimidation. The defendant has shown a pattern of intimidation towards family members and others with knowledge of the crime. I fear that if she's released, she will continue this behavior to silence anyone who could testify against her. My third concern is evidence. The brutality of these murders is not in dispute. My family and I have seen the death certificates, and although we are not aware of exactly how many shots were fired, we do know that there were multiple gunshots to both Jamie and Kristen. personal safety if the defendant can kill her own parents in such a violent manner. I fear for my own safety and the safety of my family and friends. The possibility that she could harm us is terrifying, and I urge you to consider this in your decision. I believe in our support, and I support our justice system and the hard work of Carroll County Sheriff's Office and investigators. And most importantly, I'm a Christian who believes in Jesus Christ. My prayer is that justice will be served for Jamie and Kristen, and their bond will be denied for the defendant, as she has shown that she is capable of extreme violence and manipulation. Thank you again for giving me the opportunity to speak and share my concerns. Thank you, Your Honor.
Nothing else for this witness.
No questions.
Any reason me to hold this witness?
No, you.
Nothing else.
Thank you. You may step down.
Poor woman.
Stay.
Our next witness is going to be Tristan Block.
Mr. Brock, you'll raise your right hand for me. You swear or affirm the statements you give before this court today, with the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Brenda, I know that
seated.
according to some other information that had came out, the parents had apparently had like charges against them previously, like a few years ago or something, from like meth and stuff. So, but I don't know that they were involved in that now. You know what I mean?
Speak loudly and clearly in that microphone. Let's start with your name and then spell it for me, okay?
Yes, sir. My name is Tristan Brock, Trystenbrock.
Mr. Brock, how are you related to this case?
I am James's oldest son.
And what do you think the judge is doing?
Yes, sir, I put together a statement for you. Good afternoon, Your Honor. My name is Tristan Brock. I am James's oldest son. First, I wanted to thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak today. I am here to share with the court how my life has been affected by this heinous crime. Your Honor, it feels like I'm living in a nightmare. I'm depressed. I struggle to sleep. I can't even walk through my own living room without seeing his urn and be reminded of everything all over again. I miss my father deeply. I wish I could see him again. I wish he could have met his grandson. And above all, I wish I could just hear his voice one more time. But instead now, what I have is an urn that represents memories we made and the countless memories that will never be. As a little boy, I believed my dad was the strongest Superman, and no matter what happened, he would always be there. But that belief, that dream, is now a shattered illusion. And instead of healing, I find myself reliving the shock, pain, and confusion every single day. I haven't even been able to begin to grieve. Before you make your decision regarding bond, I respectfully ask that you consider several critical factors. First and foremost, I believe the defendant poses a serious flight risk. Her family has significant financial resources and a wide support network, both of which could easily be used to help her evade law enforcement if she were released. These are not speculative concerns. They are grounded in the reality of her background and the means available to her. Additionally, based on her past behavior and what I know of her personally, I do not believe she has the integrity or accountability required to face the consequences of her actions. She has shown a willingness to avoid responsibility, and in my opinion, she would absolutely attempt to flee rather than stand trial if given the opportunity. In addition to the risk of flight, I am deeply concerned for the safety of my family. The gruesome and violent details of this case have shown me that the defendant has a disturbing lack of regard for human life. If someone is capable of what happened here, then I cannot ignore the real possibility that she could pose a threat to those of us left behind, especially if she were released on bond. This case has already caused immense pain and trauma to my family. The thought of the defendant walking free, even temporarily, only adds to our fear, anxiety, and inability to begin healing. In closing, I just want to say that this loss has left a permanent void in my life and in the lives of everyone who loved my father. He was more than a victim of a terrible crime. He was my father, a husband, a man trying to grow, to change, to build a better life. His death has caused unimaginable pain, and the emotional weight of this tragedy is something I carry with me every single day. All I ask is that the court considers this deep impact that this has had on our family and the ongoing fear, grief, and trauma we continue to live with. I speak today not out of anger, but out of heartbreak, hoping that justice will honor the life my father lived and the future he was fighting for. I urge the court to take all this in account when determining the bond and to prioritize the safety of the community and the integrity of these proceedings. Thank you for giving me the chance to be heard.
I don't have any other questions for you.
No question.
All right. Any reason me to hold this witness?
Nothing else.
You may step down. Thank you.
Judge said has one more witness. And that would be Kelly Brown.
Kelly Brown.
And he'll be reading a statement on behalf of the 12-year-old son of James Brock. His name is Jaden Brock, J-A-Y-E-D-N.
Okay. Thank you. Come on up, my friend. If you'll remain standing, raise your right hand. You swear affirm statements made before the court
I don't think I heard this one either.
today be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. All right, you may proceed. If you would, speak loudly and clearly into the microphone. Let's start with your name and spelling, please.
My name is Kelly Brown, Kellie Brown. Your Honor, I'm speaking this morning on behalf of the 12-year-old son of Jamie Brock. He is not able to emotionally speak in front of people. He is here in the courtroom today. And so I'm just going to read you what he wrote, okay? My name is Jaden Brock, and I am 12 years old.
So, okay. So this 12-year-old is the son of the male victim. Is that right? Yeah. Okay.
I wanted to talk today because my dad and stepmom was shot and killed. I miss him every day. My dad was my hero and the person I looked up to the most. We did everything together. He helped me with school, and he always made me laugh, and we joked around a lot. Since he died, everything has changed. I feel sad and confused. It's hard to sleep, it's hard to focus, and it's even hard to smile sometimes. I still wait to hear his voice or see him walk through the door, but I know that will never happen again. What makes me more sad is I trusted Sarah and I loved her like a sister. Why would she do this to me? And why would she hurt everyone like this? I don't understand why someone would do this, but I know it is not right. My dad and Kristen didn't deserve this. No one does. And I don't think someone who could do something like this should be allowed to go free right now. I wouldn't feel safe, and I would be so scared. Please think about what my family is going through. I hope you make a decision that protects us and remembers who my dad was. A good man, a loving dad who didn't deserve to die. Thank you for listening to me. And that's his statement.
Thank you.
I don't have any other questions for you.
Ms. Brown, how are you related to the family or this situation?
I am not related to the family. I grew up with Kim, and I've known Jamie since he was 2.
Okay, friends with Kim and Jamie.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
And were you present when that statement was written, or was it just handed to you?
No, I was not present, no. It was written by Jaden, his mom, and Kim helped. I was just asked to read it.
Okay. And they told you that he prepared it?
Yes.
And you would agree with me that nothing in the letter says that Sarah Grace was a threat to Jaden when they were living together?
He never expressed that to me, ma'am. I would agree with that.
That's all I have, thank you.
Nothing else, Judge.
Any reason to hold this witness, even though she's speaking on someone else's behalf?
None from the state.
All right, you can step down. Thank you.
You are the witnesses for the state judge only argument.
All right. I'm ready for argument.
Thank you, Judge. Just to kind of round out the record a little bit, we're talking about the incident that occurred February 20th of 2025. The arrest date of the defendant was July 9th of 2025. Since we are operating under 1511-560, that's the concurrent and original jurisdiction in Superior Court, the individual charged in this case was a minor at the time. The rules dictate a specific time frame for us. We have 180 days to indict this case where it goes back to juvenile court. We have 90 days to indict, or a bond is required, same as any other defendant here. Judge, we are looking at Ayala v. State, that's 262 Georgia 704. And in that case, the court has given us some guidelines as to what we should be looking at in regards to issuing a bond in this case that was codified in 1761 as well. First is that the defendant poses no significant risk of fleeing from the jurisdiction of the court or failing to appear when required. Judge, we've heard from multiple witnesses that flight is a concern for the family. There are considerable assets on the other side of the victim's family. One thing that the court is permitted to consider in regards to flight, and really all the factors, is the seriousness of the offense. Coleman v. State, that's C-O-L-E-M-O-N v. State. That's a 361 Georgia App 901. It's a 2021 case, but it cites all the way back to the mid-70s that it is absolutely acceptable for the court to consider the seriousness of the offense. But we don't just have a murder case here. We don't just have a double homicide. We have a double homicide of the defendant's mother and stepfather. I don't know that cases get more serious than what we are looking at here. That's something that you should consider for each of the 4 items. As pertains to flight, there was testimony that flight is a concern for the victim's family. It's a concern for the state as well. This defendant has moved around quite a bit over the past few years. She has roots here in Caddo County, no doubt. She also has roots in Coweta. She has roots all over the state and in Alabama. Number 2, the defendant poses no significant threat or danger to any person, to the community, or to any property in the community. The family is genuinely afraid. I've met with a significant number of the family already. I'll be meeting with just about everybody else later on this afternoon. The family is genuinely afraid on the Brock side of the family tree. They are fearful that she will reach out. They are fearful for their own safety and the safety of all the other members of that family. The defendant poses no significant risk of committing any felonies pending trial. Judge, I'm going to talk about that here in a minute, but I think there is some inherent risk in that as well. One of those felonies ties into that significant threat or danger to any person. If she is to lash out violently at one of the other family members, that would be a felony. Number 4 is the defendant poses no significant risk of intimidating witnesses or otherwise obstructing the administration of justice. And it was pointed out that there is concern that the defendant would be able to influence, I'm going to use the term influence instead of intimidating, influence the 6-year-old who is a primary witness to this case. There's significant concern from the state in that regard. There's significant concern from the family members in that regard. We've heard terms like manipulation, lack of integrity, lack of accountability. Those are terms that we heard here in court today. In that is in line with what we've heard about this defendant all along. When you started, you said this is a simple application of the law. That's what we're talking about here. The state has shown that there is a significant flight risk. We've heard that from witnesses in regards to that aspect of Ayala. Significant threat or danger to the community, particularly them, risk of intimidating witnesses, and that significant risk of committing any felony. That would include influencing a 6-year-old. That would include reaching out and threatening family members. That may, depending on the circumstances, include flight to another county or another state. We just think that at this point, this defendant is a poor candidate for bond, and bond should be denied as such.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Judge. I will respond in turn to the state's argument and then go into what it is that we have specifically for Sarah Grace. As it relates to the seriousness of the offense, we agree that the offenses are serious. What's happened here is a tragedy on both sides. And while that is something for the court to consider, it is not one of the Ayala factors. We understand that the state has brought the Brock family here to voice their concerns. But what is particularly alarming to me is that they have not considered the Nolan side of the family, which would have been Kristen's family. And Kristen's family sits in support of Sarah Grace. And so there are two victims here. While there are victims on the Brock side of the family who voice their concerns for their safety, there are victims of family members who are on the Nolan side of the family who have not voiced that same concern. As a matter of fact, they're here in support of her and willing to have her live with them. The grandfather, who is Kristen's father, Sarah Grace's father, Sarah Grace can live with them. Multiple people have said that Sarah Grace was invited into their home and they're not even family. So they're willing to have her be a part of their household. With that being said, as far as the influence or threat of influence, as the state puts it, of the 6-year-old sibling of Sarah Grace, there are means for the court to avoid that contact. If the child, I don't even know that the child is 6, I think the child may still be 5 and have not yet turned 6. But I don't know this, but there's not a cell phone for a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old. The court could restrict that contact just like the court does in any other case where there is alleged to be some witness where there could be influence. The court could say, I order that there is no contact between Sarah Grace and her younger sibling or any of her siblings for that matter. That can be remedied if that is in fact a concern for the court. What we have shown through our witnesses, Your Honor, is that Sarah Grace does in fact meet the requirements of the statute, in that the court shall be authorized to release a person on bail if they find that they pose no significant risk of fleeing the jurisdiction of the court or failing to appear in court when required, no significant threat or danger to any person in the community or any property, no significant risk of committing any felony pending trial, and no risk of intimidating witnesses no significant risk of intimidating witnesses or otherwise obstructing the administration of justice. As it relates to the financial resources of the family, there has been no testimony as to what those resources are. Just that the Rock family believes that the Nolan family or Kristen's family has these grand resources in some regard that could assist Sarah Grace in being a flight risk. If that were the case, Your Honor, again, I remind the court that the incident took place in February and she had gone to visit the Jensen household in Alabama between that February and July time period. If for some reason, there was to be this enlightenment that I should run. There was ample opportunity at that time. Caitlin testified that that Sarah Grace had never asked her to hide her or take her to Alabama permanently or anything like that. In addition, there was testimony as well as documents for the court admitted into evidence that Sarah Grace does not have a driver's license and that it would be better if she not drive. And she doesn't have her own personal vehicle or access to a car. And so the flight risk for a 17-year-old at this stage with no driver's license and no meaningful way to get around in that regard to be this significant flight risk, I think just isn't met. As it relates to a threat or danger to any person in the community, nobody indicated that Sarah Grace was a threat or a danger prior to this incident happening. And what we know is that hindsight is 20/20, and they're looking back on what they believe happened, and we assert Sarah Grace's innocence, and she is presumed to be innocent as she sits before the court, is that they're looking back saying, if she's capable of doing this, then she must be a threat. But that does not muster what is required to be a significant threat or danger. There's no indication that she has access to any firearms further. The court could order that she not have access or touch or be around or in the home with any firearms or anything like that. As it relates to a significant risk of committing any felony pending trial, that is typically put into the mix when there is a significant criminal history. Investigator Rogers testified that there was no criminal history before Sarah was arrested for these crimes, and there was there was documentation as to the GCIC that was admitted in defense bond exhibit 1. In addition to that, Your Honor, she poses no significant risk of intimidating witnesses or otherwise obstructing the administration of justice, other than Ms. Brock's feeling that she may be an intimidation to the 6-year-old. There's been no evidence, no testimony about there being any type of intimidation that has gone forward from this. Just that they believe she may be manipulative. And I understand that emotions are high, and that's what the Brock family believes. But again, I remind the court that the Brock family is not the only victim's family. There is the Nolan family as well, who do not share those same sentiments. Your Honor, in addition to those IALA factors that are in subsection E1 of the statute, there is subsection E2 of the statute that requires that Your Honor consider the purpose of bail. And we have the purpose of bail is given to us in IALA, which is the purpose of pretrial bond is to prevent punishment before a conviction and to secure appearance in court. There is no indication that Sarah Grace would not be here for any appearances in court. She has several people who are willing to bring her, who testified that they would be in charge of that. And also to prevent the punishment before a conviction. Again, IALA, that the state cited, is very clear that the most fundamental premise of our criminal justice system is that a person ought not be punished for a criminal offense until the state demonstrates guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. IALA goes further to say that unless the right to bail before trial is preserved, the presumption of innocence secured only after centuries of struggle would lose its meaning. So that is the purpose of pretrial bond, is to preserve that presumption of innocence, which Sarah Grace enjoys at this moment. She is close to the presumption of innocence, unless and until the state can prove her guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. That beyond a reasonable doubt standard is not met at this bond hearing. I know that the state only has, the burden of persuasion, in this bond. We have the burden of production. We have met our burden of production, Your Honor. As it relates to her ties to the community, I do want to call the court's attention to Dunn v. Edwards, and that is 275 Georgia 458. It is a Supreme Court decision.
275 Georgia.
258. I have a
Thank you.
copy for the court if I may approach.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
And that discusses what is required as to the burden of production on the defense as to ties to the community. In a murder case, the defendant was charged with malice murder. And the court in this case said that there was a failure of the defense to satisfy that initial burden because the only testimony presented at the bond hearing on the issue of the defendant's ties to the community came from the investigating officer who only testified that the defendant lived in Athens, and that was it. There was no evidence that the defendant had continuously lived in Athens for any significant period of time and had any significant involvement with family, friends, or institutions in the community. That he had a job history or that he had a reputation for reliability. Here, the defense has presented those things. So we present Dunn in juxtaposition or in a distinguishing way, and that we have produced several witnesses, 6 to be exact, as well as 8 letters of support showing her ties to community through family, friends, also institutions in the community. We have the Catalyst Church, the pastor of that church, coming to speak on behalf of Sarah Grace, saying that they would be willing in any way to facilitate her being able to get bond, whether that meant staying there, facilitating somewhere for her to stay. Ties to the community for a juvenile is a bit tricky, for lack of a better term. A juvenile has to go where their parents make them go. And I think that is, if there is a concern about Sarah Grace moving around, there being middle school in East Coweta, and then her from 9th grade on going to Central High School, which would be a 4-year period here in Carrollton, that concern should be tempered with her being a juvenile at the time and her having to move wherever parents would have her to be. So that is the demonstration of ties to the community. Any risk to the community, I point the court's attention to Creedmoor v. State, and I provided the court as well as the state copy. And that's 327 Georgia Act 368. It's the Georgia Court of Appeals case where they talk about, they do an interlocutory review of the denial of pretrial bond for this client, and that there was not testimony regarding their ties to the community, and that there were multiple convictions of that defendant for driving under the influence, and then there was proper evidence of 3 previous convictions for the same thing. I present that in distinction and in juxtaposition. So what we have here with Sarah Grace is that she has absolutely no criminal history and is therefore not a risk to the community and not a risk to reoffend. Again, what has happened here is in fact a tragedy, and we are sorry for what has happened, but we assert and lean upon the presumption of innocence that is required by our justice system. In this case, bond denial is not proper, Your Honor. We have met the IALA factors. We have met our burden of production through both testimonial and admitted evidence. And I also want to relate to the court that the court not only has whether or not there's a bond amount set for bond, But the court also has other tools in its toolbox and can impose conditions or a combination of conditions in order to make sure that Sarah Grace is not a flight risk or risk the community or anything like that. The court can impose conditions such as no social media or phone or phone privileges, ankle monitor, house arrest. The court has all of those tools in its toolbox to ensure that her presence is secured, and also that if she's on house arrest or has a curfew or ankle monitor, that she's not somewhere she can be. Technology is a beautiful thing, and what we have now is a GPS system that can tell you exactly where a person is at all times. And so through the courts, that can be ordered, and there can be those conditions placed on the bond. In addition to that, Your Honor, because of her age, Ms. Patrick is being held in solitary confinement at the jail because the Sheriff's Department is concerned about putting her.
Sorry, I'm back from the potty. I was going to say real quick, though, that you could tell the judge was like listening, but then when she said that about the GPS, the monitoring, he was like, yeah, no.
To general population. Courts have struggled with whether prolonged stays in solitary is constitutional or violative of the 8th Amendment, especially in young people. So I just want to present that for the court's consideration as well. Again, I ask this court to protect the presumption of innocence. Based on everything that's been presented here today in court, not just the seriousness of offenses, not just this arbitrary concern that all of a sudden now people may be in danger, looking in hindsight, but based on real witnesses and testimony and presented documentation that Sarah Grace Patrick is a candidate for bond. You know, Your Honor, this profession requires that we not only struggle with doing the right thing, which is what society says is right at the moment, but we must also do what is right, and that is the notion of justice. And the just thing, and what is right in this case, will be granting Sarah Grace Patrick pretrial release.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Anything else from the state?
Just very briefly, Judge, to point out a couple of just factual issues that I want to be clear for on the record. Our office, as we do in every case, did reach out to the victim's family on both sides. It is my expectation that I will be meeting with the Nolan family later on this afternoon, as soon as we are done here in court, to talk to them. They are victims in our case as well. We have a different posture in terms of the guilt of the defendant, but that is something that we do with every single case. So the fact that the line has kind of been drawn in the sand, the state must reach across that line either way, and we would do it even if we weren't statutorily required. I know that they are victims in this case. They are hurting, and we will do everything we can to help them as well. Judge, as pointed out by opposing counsel, Ayala v. State is the case on point. And opposing counsel is correct, that their burden generally, to kind of put a very simple broad brush on it, is that they are to only really proffer towards the community ties. They've done that. I don't doubt that she has ties to the community. I don't doubt that the defendant has people who care about her. She has a flight list. We need to specify that they own so much land, and if they have different business holdings, we don't. The testimony is clear that they have the assets to send her out of state or even to faraway places farther than that if it was necessary. She is a flight list. That is the state's position. She is a flight list. And the other factors that we've talked about, the family is genuinely afraid. We always operate in hindsight in cases like this. No one ever knows that someone is violent until they are violent. That's why the family is scared at this point, because now, in their eyes, the defendant has shown her true self, who she really is. So, of course, they would be fearful now than they would be beforehand. We did hear some testimony regarding disciplinary issues and the fact that this individual has had to attend an alternative school. This was a loving family, this was a caring family. They were working with her to get her into a position where she could have a fruitful life, and we ended up where we ended up. As far as the issues regarding what's going on in the jail, that's an issue for the sheriff's office. I know that they are prioritizing her safety at this point. I don't think it will be forever that she is in isolation. And as far as all the other factors, Judge, I just think that when you apply the law to all of the testimony that we heard here today, she's just not a good candidate for bond at this point. She is a flight risk. It was just to intimidate witnesses. The state had met its burden as well. We just think that this individual should be denied bond at this point.
All right, thank you. All right, while I consider this, I do want to say, Ms. Williams, right?
Yes, John.
You've not been in front of me before, and Mr. Parrish, I believe this is one of your times performing in front of me as well. I commend both of you for being professional, and I look forward to working through this case with both of you.
Thank you.
All right, to address just a couple of things, Pastor Bonner mentioned that we are the jury, and we are not the jury. My job as a judge is simply to make sure that the law is followed, and that court is done in a fair and just manner. That's my role, to make sure that everyone follows the law and that everyone stays within the rules, and I make sure that that's done. We are not the jury. And as of right now, Ms. Williams did correctly state the law that this is not the trial, and it is not the burden to prove her guilt beyond a reasonable doubt today. That is not what we are. And for those that are here, I don't want y'all to misunderstand and confuse the burdens and think that's where we're at today, because that is not where we are. On a motion for bond, defense has a burden of coming forward initially with evidence to show that the defendant does not pose a significant risk of fleeing, threatening the community, committing another crime, or intimidating a witness. And then it is the state has the burden of persuasion in convincing this court that the defendant is not entitled to pretrial release. The state has the burden of proving by a preponderance of the evidence that the trial court should deny bail or bond. And there's a vast difference in beyond a reasonable doubt and preponderance of the evidence. Preponderance of the evidence is essentially greater than 50%, or it's just a greater likelihood than the other side. That is vastly different than beyond a reasonable doubt at trial. And I need everyone to understand that. My job is to evaluate the witnesses, weigh their credibility as they testify before me, and apply what the witnesses have said and apply their credibility to the law the best I can. Make sure that I've covered what I needed to and what I've heard from several folks. All right. With that being said, and listening to the witnesses here, if I weigh these witnesses' testimonies and I weigh what I hear today, I believe those closest, and I say closest, in family relationship, expressed that they had vast concerns that she would have the ability to flee, that she would be a danger to the community, that she would be a danger to them, that she would pose a significant risk of intimidating, or actually I think the state steered away from intimidating, or influencing or manipulating witnesses. By finding that, I find the state has met their burden today by preponderance of the evidence. And Miss Patrick, because of that, I'm bound by the law, and I do not believe that you would be a proper candidate for bond at this time. With that being said, here's what I want to tell you. Very recently, the Judicial Council of Georgia recognized our court as being a clearance rate excellence award recipient, which means that we are very up to date on our cases and we take great pride in moving cases quickly. I do not want anyone to sit in jail unnecessarily. So what I would like to do is go ahead and give you future court dates. And I'll explain this, Ms. Williams, a little bit, because again, I know you're new to being in front of me, but I would like to go ahead and give you some future dates for your case. Obviously, your case has to be indicted first. All right, that's the first process. We know when this case will go in front of the grand jury.
I'll be presenting it to the grand jury this afternoon.
All right. If the grand jury chooses to indict you, right, that would be to true bill the case. That means the case goes forward. If they choose to no bill it, then we'll cross that bridge. But if they choose to true bill, then your case will go forward. And I'll ask the clerk which would be the next available arraignment that we could place her on. All right. So, and that's not the probation county, correct? All right, so your arraignment, if true bill, okay, I'm just giving you a plan of action so that you know what's coming up, okay? If they true bill this.
Okay, so he denied the bond, but he was very kind to her. I just thought that was pretty awesome. He seems very sweet. There was another video that popped out that I wanted to check out real quick. I started it earlier today, but I didn't get to watch all of it. And the grandfather that I showed in the courtroom earlier is doing a little bit of an interview here with Law and Crime. And it says bombshell evidence uncovered in TikTok teen's double murder case, but I feel like that's kind of a little bit of a, I mean, he gives a little bit of information. It's not anything bombshell in my opinion, but I don't know if there was anything else that he gave because I only heard a little bit. So we'll watch some of this.
I mean, let's face it took them 4 months to arrest her. You know, the time lag. If they had anything of substance that came about from the initial investigation, they would have arrested her immediately.
We just spoke with the grandfather of Sarah Grace Patrick. He's continuing to stand by the 17-year-old who's accused of killing her mom and stepdad inside their Georgia home in February. But he also shed some light on what he thinks detectives may have in their case against his granddaughter.
Okay, they claim that she did some internet searches for how to commit murder or something of that nature, and they claim they have that.
Why he is claiming that is not something that would tie his granddaughter to the murders of James and Kristen Brock. We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart.
So, I mean, that's kind of I don't know, damning, is that the right word? But then also kind of also circumstantial. I mean, again, we go back to the Lord only knows what would happen to me if people looked at my search history, considering I watch a lot of true crime. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. Okay, here.
Point, law enforcement in Carroll County, Georgia have been pretty quiet when it comes to explaining what makes up the quote mountain of evidence they have against Sarah Grace Patrick. But we did learn some new details that we have not heard before in our interview with Sarah Grace's grandfather. Here's video of Sarah Grace Patrick in court yesterday for a bond hearing. This was the first time that we saw her since her arrest in July for allegedly shooting and killing her mom and stepdad in the middle of the night as they slept inside their house in Carrollton, Georgia on February 20th. The victims' names are James and Kristen Brock. In the wake of their deaths, Sarah Grace Patrick posted videos paying tribute to them on social media. She even reached out to TikTok creators, encouraging them to cover the case when it was unsolved. But then she was arrested, and law enforcement say they have a, quote, mountain of evidence against her. We did notice overnight that Patrick is now facing 8 charges in total, and that includes malice murder. That alleges that this shooting that she allegedly committed was premeditated. She's also facing 2 counts of felony murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault. And on top of that, she's also facing 2 new counts of possession of a firearm or knife during commission of or attempt to commit certain felonies. Yesterday, a judge denied bond for Sarah Grace Patrick. State witnesses cited concerns about her potentially fleeing if she were to be let free on bond. Also, there are concerns that she could influence witnesses, specifically her 5-year-old half-sister.
Yeah, now this is the sister that found them in the bed. God loved this baby's heart.
Who allegedly found the Brocks shot dead in their bedroom. At the end of the hearing, the state said that Patrick's case would be presented to a grand jury, and hours later she was indicted. Now, we still don't know a lot about the evidence that law enforcement has against Sarah Grace Patrick, but her grandfather did share some new information with us today. Her grandfather's name is Dennis Nolan. He lost his daughter Kristen in this shooting. It is important to remember that. Dennis was also the father-in-law of James Brock. This was a blended family that has certainly been divided since Sarah Grace Patrick's arrest. Dennis was in court for the bond hearing yesterday, and I spoke to him earlier today. What is your reaction to the new charges that Sarah Grace Patrick's now facing? I know she's facing those 2 counts of malice murder.
I haven't talked to the attorney about that because that came up, you know, the grand jury met after we left and came up with those charges. I think they're just a formality. It doesn't reflect anything else other than that. You know, it's like they're saying, you know, commission of a crime with a gun, the aggravated assault. Is that we questioned the DA about that after the hearing, and they said it's just a matter of law, because if you hold a gun to someone, that's an assault. You know, you pull the trigger and it's murder. So you have 2 charges right there. And it's just, like I said, it's just more of a formality than anything else, and they're trying to come up with as many charges as possible. It's just a question, and I'm going to tell you this, if this thing goes to trial, it's going to be interesting, because some things surfaced yesterday after the hearing. People are coming out of the woodwork, so to speak, that have information that I'm turning over to the sheriff's department, because, as you know, the prosecutors don't do any investigation. You have to leave that up to the sheriff's department. So, you know, there were a lot of information acquired yesterday about James' background and some of the things going on in that house that I wasn't aware of just prior to the murder. And it didn't have a whole lot to do with Sarah Grace. Matter of fact, it had nothing to do with her.
In our interview, Dennis said that James and Kristen were recently involved in illegal drug activity up until the time of their deaths. The family of James Brock denies that. We did look into the criminal history of James and Kristen Brock.
People, though, they claim they have investigated all the possible suspects. And, you know, prior to yesterday's hearing, they were saying that there was probably going to be additional arrests made. But after the hearing, they said they pretty much concluded all their investigation.
Now, Dennis and...
Okay, that's strange. So I thought that the substance stuff was long in the past. So if this was still currently going on, I guess that's stuff that we're, as the grandfather said, things start coming out of the woodwork, and he's passing things to the law enforcement or attorneys or whoever. I don't know, but I don't know.
Sarah Grace's biological father, DJ, who is also standing by the teenager, have said they believe law enforcement did not do enough to see if someone else was involved in the murders of James and Kristen and whether their past had something to do with their murders. Now, we want to be forward and clear and tell you what we know about the past of James and Kristen Brock. And it's difficult because they're not here to talk about their pasts. But we did pull their records, and this is what those records show. We saw for James, there was a 2017 arrest related to drug possession, and he was given probation for that. He was also found guilty related to a 2018 arrest for possession of methamphetamine and marijuana, theft by receiving, and obstruction of a police officer. Kristen's record shows an arrest on the same day, April 29th, 2018, as James for meth possession and theft by receiving, which she was not prosecuted for. She was sentenced to drug programs for marijuana possession and possession of a drug object that was related to the 2018 arrest. We did.
Okay, well, that was 7 years ago. I mean, I kind of need something a little more current than that.
Find in 2022, James filed a temporary protective order against Kristen, accusing her of domestic abuse. That was then withdrawn later that year. We found in 2022, Kristen Brock was arrested. She was charged with first-degree criminal damage to property plus felony and misdemeanor cruelty to children charges. That case, according to online court records, was still active at the time of her death. Yesterday, during the bond hearing, James's sister, Kimberly Bowling, gave very emotional
cruelty to children. What? Let's go back. I gotta hear that again.
Temporary protective order against Kristen, accusing her of domestic abuse. That was then withdrawn later that year. We found in 2022, Kristen Brock was arrested. She was charged with first-degree criminal damage to property plus felony and misdemeanor cruelty to children charges. That case, according to online court records, was still active at the time of her death. Yesterday, during the bond hearing, James's sister, Kimberly Bowling, gave very emotional testimony, and she said that the Brocks had turned their lives around. They were born-again Christians, and we haven't found any criminal charges for the two of them since 2022. It's unclear who else detectives investigated related to the Brocks murders over the 4 months that this case was unsolved. I asked Dennis about why he thinks his granddaughter is innocent and what evidence prosecutors may have against Sarah Grace Patrick in this case. In this next part of our interview with Sarah Grace Patrick's grandfather, he walked us through some information about key pieces of evidence he's learned throughout this investigation. Police have not confirmed the digital and physical evidence he's about to tell us, and we have not confirmed it through police reports, but...
Okay, so I'm anxious to hear this part, but you're right, Miss King. I mean, maybe. As a parent, there was something going on between in and around 2022, and he said that the one case was still open as of her death. So I don't know. I mean, felony and something, what did he say? Felony and misdemeanor cruelty to children.
What he claims Sarah Grace Patrick allegedly Googled before the murders we had not heard before. I know you went and spoke to the prosecutor after the bond hearing yesterday. Would you say after that, I mean, you're not expecting any more arrests from what they told you in the case?
No, they're not releasing any of the evidence that they have in the case. And they said, they were saying, well, we'll come out in the trial. But of course, we have discovery, we filed for discovery. And, they have technically between 30 and 90 days to turn that discovery over to the attorney. which means all the evidence that they have for the trial. You know, they got to give her time to work through that evidence. And
I mean, considering they're saying it's a mountain of evidence, you know, I want to know what all this evidence is. Also, what kind of, is it all digital? Is there any physical? Do they have the weapon that was used? I have lots of questions. But if they're saying that they don't expect any more arrests as of yesterday after the bond hearing, then, or the day before, whenever the bond hearing was, my days are mixed up. Then that tells me she had no accomplices, or she allegedly, if it was her, you know, so many questions.
but they're holding tight on that, and that really bothers me because, you know, they were trying very hard to get Sarah to, you know, admit guilt, and they threw a whole bunch of evidence in her face just prior to the warrant. And we know what that was because DJ was present for that interrogation. And it wasn't anything, there was nothing there of substance. It was all, you know, it was photographs of the scene, and they claim they have found gun residue on something that they found of Sarah's, and you know, but it wasn't conclusive. I mean, let's face it, it took them 4 months to arrest her. You know, the time lag. If they had anything of substance that came about from the initial investigation, they would have arrested her immediately. They waited because they were under pressure to do something, to come up with a suspect.
What piece of evidence, I mean, you talk about the gun residue, and I know they had, like they said, I remember like kind of the line that everybody keeps coming back to from that news conference was they had a, quote, mountain of evidence against Sarah Grace Patrick. And they have kept a lot tight to the vest, it seems, to anybody that they've spoken to. Is there any, like, from what you've seen, I mean, what makes up that like what they think they have? Like, what makes up the mountain of evidence?
Well, of course, I haven't seen it, so I don't know for sure. But what I've summarized from what people have told me is that their digital evidence was searches that Sarah had done on her phone having to do with murdering your parents. Okay, they claim that she did some internet searches for how to commit murder or something of that nature. But she didn't realize it was gunfire that woke her up, and I think you can understand that. You know, and she was a little bit dazed, and I guess she felt like she needed to call her boyfriend and see if he was awake at that hour. You know, which I don't find that unusual.
So we have, what we know of so far is gun residue on something that belongs to Sarah Grace. She doesn't hear the gunfire. Is that what he said? Gunfire didn't wake her up or something. I didn't make out what he said there, but then something about calling the boyfriend at the same time. I don't know. Let me rewind that and hear that back.
Is that their digital evidence was searches that Sarah had done on her phone having to do with murdering your parents. Okay, they claim that she did some internet searches for how to commit murder or something of that nature. But she didn't realize it was gunfire that woke her up, and I think you can understand that. You know, and she was a little bit dazed.
He said she didn't realize it was gunfire that woke her up, and she was a little bit dazed.
And I guess she felt like she needed to call her boyfriend and see if he was awake at that hour, you know, which I don't find that unusual. Mm. So they're holding that against her. But they did gun residue tests against her on her immediately the next day, or the morning after the shooting, and they all came back negative. And I know they did her clothing, and it came back negative.
Well, then what came back positive with gunfire residue?
Again, this 4-month lag of having her arrested and saying they have a mountain of evidence that's...
I mean, he said, first of all, he said that they had gunshot residue on something of hers, but that it came back inconclusive. And then now he's saying that her hands came back clean and something else.
Digital. It has to do with her internet searches. And as far as I know, that's pretty much it.
But they found like some kind of gun residue on like something she owns?
Yeah, they said they found a glove, some kind of glove that had a little bit of gun residue on it, hidden in her closet. I don't know much about that, what type of glove or anything else. I mean, that's about it.
Mm.
Again, that was something that was found early on, because like I said, they tore the house up, and they found that in their search of the house. And you would think that if that was enough of incriminating evidence, they would have arrested her at that time. Yeah, I think the timing of the arrest says a whole lot to what they have, or what they don't have. But I don't think they have anything that puts the gun in her hand. I don't know if I shared this with you, but they made the statement even in the initial press conference about no sign of forced entry.
I saw him show this photo when I was like scrolling through to try to look through this video real quick. So I was waiting for this part to come up. But a glove hidden in her closet with gunshot residue on it.
I know when I went to, when they released the house to me, and I was trying to secure the house, and well, let me back up a little bit. Sarah did tell the investigators that when she went into the room initially, she said the room was ice cold, and this was, of course, in February. It was cold. And she realized it was cold because the back door was open. There was a back door that they had attached to their bedroom. Right off their bedroom was a little porch. And this door opened up into that porch. And Sarah told them that door, she found that door open. And they said there was no sign of forced entry. when I went to secure the house, the lock on that door was broken. And I didn't really think a whole lot of it at the time. And DJ took a picture of that back door and that lock the day that we had access to the house. And I have it right here. And I don't know if you can see this or not, but directly right here, right there, you see this mark right here? That's a crowbar mark that, there's clearly signs of forced entry. Now, the other thing that surprises me, when I look at this photograph, the police, of course, they should have dusted everything for prints. And I know from past experience, if they dust for prints, it leaves a little bit of a mess. They use a black dust. There was none of this on this door. So they didn't even dust this door for prints, which I think is the most obvious sign of forced entry I have ever seen. If you can see that.
Yeah.
That mark.
Yeah, I see that. That mark there on the door.
This lock right here was broken. Like someone took it and gave it maybe a wrench and twisted it, and because the insides were all twisted up inside. I had to replace that lock. That's a replacement lock that I put on there to secure the house. And like I said, I hadn't thought twice, but DJ saw this and took this picture.
Shoot. Thank you for letting me know, Gail. I think what I was saying was I hope that that law enforcement took enough photos and took a photo of the outside of that door, because I want to know if the door looked like that when the police arrived or if it didn't look like that when police arrived. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was saying while I was muted. So sorry.
Picture of that door. So, I don't know the investigators how good a job they did.
We don't know a potential motive in this case. I did ask Dennis about something that prosecutors brought up multiple times at the bond hearing. There were questions about whether Sarah Grace Patrick went to an alternative high school. I know during the hearing, the prosecutors, a couple of times they asked some of the defense's witnesses about an alternative school that Sarah Grace Patrick went to. I know the first time we spoke, you didn't know of any mental health issues that she had, you told me. What is this alternative school that they were asking about?
Well, I know the last one she was in, I did know about, and the school expelled her. And when the school expels somebody here, they make them go to this alternative school to finish out their schooling. And I know she was going to that alternative school, and she was doing quite well, and she was taking it very seriously, and she graduated early from that. And but that's how that transpired. That she was expelled from school because of that drug incident. And you see, the thing is that James and Kristen were allowing her to smoke marijuana. I mean, I caught them in my house doing it. James and Kristen and Sarah together, which I was very upset about. But they did that on a regular basis, and I know they shared. One thing Sarah kept asking the day after the murder, well, did they find the marijuana? Did they find the marijuana? And I'm thinking, what why is she so interested in this thing? She says, well, there was a lot of marijuana laying on the table or something. And she felt like whoever committed the crime had grabbed that batch of marijuana that was there. And later on, I think it was Sarah that told me that they found it behind the nightstand or something. It had ended up in their bedroom.
We don't know if there were any drugs in the house the night of the murders. Dennis says that law enforcement told him that Sarah Grace is the only suspect who could have committed the murders, which he disagrees with. For the bond hearing yesterday, you had, I know, the pastor of the local church. He made a witness impact statement for some family friends.
Thank you, Sheree.
But you and DJ did not make statements. As being kind of the closest family members, it seems, to Sarah Grace, who were in her corner here. Why did you not make a witness impact statement?
Well, that was a character with, they wanted character witnesses. I felt, along with even the attorney felt the same way, that anything coming from an immediate family member is basically useless. I mean, of course we're going to give her a great character reference, and we're not going to say anything bad about Kara, and in that hearing, that the best thing we could do is have it come from outside the family would be more important than how the family feels about Sarah. But that was our thinking on that, and of course we could have gone up there and and given a great character witness for her, but coming from her grandfather or from her father, it just seems like useless as far as if I was a judge looking at it.
Just lastly for me, Dennis, and I know that you have been in your granddaughter's corner, and no matter what people think, to have a family member in the position she is, and then for you as a family member trying to figure out what to do going forward, and you believe and have said that you believe that she's innocent, and there's still a lot of evidence to come out that apparently prosecutors say that they have. I mean, is there anything at this point that could change your mind when it comes to Sarah Grace's innocence heading into this potential trial in January?
Well, I mean, I'd like to see evidence that, sort of, as I've always used the expression, put the gun in her hand. I just don't think there is that evidence. I don't think there's enough evidence. Everything I see is circumstantial. I think that a decent attorney could work their way through this in trial, and have when you have a jury of 12 people, all you got to do is reach one of them. And I think there's so much questionable things that I don't see anything that can't be disputed.
After deciding that Sarah Grace Patrick would not be granted bond yesterday, the judge set several dates in her case. The next time she is expected to be in court is September 22nd for an arraignment. The judge also set a potential trial date of January 5th. That will do it.
All right. So there you go. I'm looking, is anybody seeing anything? I think I read earlier on Donna Adelson that openings would probably be tomorrow. Is anybody seeing anything about that? Stuff just keeps coming out and coming out and coming out about this little Emmanuel Harrow, however you say it. But as far as Donna Adelson goes, I'm Not sure what they're going to do. But I'm going to keep my eyes and ears peeled for this story because, like, it's one thing to say you have a mountain of evidence, but then it's another story when we see what their mountain of evidence is. I don't think I I don't think that I could convict her alone on the things that they've talked about thus far. Is it probable? Yeah. But also, you know, I wouldn't like cash the farm in on it. So, Miss King says, that's what I thought. I heard jury selection should be done in the morning, then opening statements. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. We might check in for a little bit tomorrow. I don't think that I'll be able to stream the entire day, but I'd like to at least check out the opening statements anyway. So, I don't know what time that'll be either, but I'm assuming because it's on the East Coast, they're in Florida, right? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I think that Adelson's in Florida. I'd say they'll start about 9 in the morning, give or take. Okay. Other than that, I think I'm going to jump out of here. Jump out of here. Kiddo will be home from school soon. Her dad has been picking her up whenever he gets off work because she has an hour-long bus ride home from school, and there's no air conditioning on the buses, at least not hers. And so it's been so humid and hot that by the time she gets home, she's just cooked. So he's been picking her up, and so at least she's getting home about an hour earlier than she would otherwise. So she'll be home soon. And yeah, anyway, I'm glad I was able to hop on and chit chat with you guys for a little bit today and talk some cases, right? So you're welcome, Gail. I'm glad you could join us. So we'll get together for a little bit tomorrow. See what kind of updates there are about Emmanuel, and then I guess scope out some of the Adelson trial together for a little bit. All right, does it sound good with you guys? Goodbye, Sherry. You guys have a great rest of your day. I'll get out of here, and I'll see some of y'all later tonight. You know. But anyway. Love you guys, and I will see the rest of you tomorrow. All right? Bye. Make sure to hit that thumbs up before you leave. Subscribe if you're new. Hashtag replay in the comments down below if you're watching on the replay. Love y'all. Bye.